monthly review. I ain't making no commitments unless I'm seeing it through. And that shit ain't always easy to do. Nah, it ain't easy to. Another year alive, pushing my dreams, finding balance while I'm looking at screens.
Hey, what's up? All our fans out there, it's the Josh and Denver podcast right here. It's your boy Denver right here.
Yeah, it's your boy Josh. Wagwan. Shout out to all the listeners, all the new fans, all the reoccurring fans. We appreciate you all. And you already know we got a special guest with us, the man, the myth, the legend.
What's up, guys? Nice to meet you all. Dondre, Wright, Denver's brother. Nice to make my appearance on the podcast. I've been a fan watching all the episodes, seeing you guys work. It's been nice.
We appreciate it, fam. We appreciate it. Again, we're just happy to have you. And it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one. So what's the first topic for today, yo? Let's get into it.
We'll start off with the Jarvis Landry story. It's one of the events that happened after the last podcast. So Jarvis Landry was a free agent, and we were wondering where he's gonna go. We were trying to predict, which team might be the best fit for him. He ended up signing with the New Orleans Saints. So I think it's a great pick. The Saints are being a really aggressive in the free agency. So I feel like if he's healthy, he's gonna add a lot to that team, man. You think it's a good idea, Josh, for the Jarvis Landry to join the Saints?
Definitely. And, we've been talking heavily about the Saints as of recent because, we talked about the acquisitions that they made on defense with Tyrann Mathieu and Marcus May, adding to that DB core that's already been pretty strong, but with their losses that they endured with names are escaping me. Well, basically, yeah, their additions to the defense have been pretty beneficial for them, and then adding to the offense as well. Getting Jarvis Landry, it's another target for Jameis Winston. So I think, and then as well they have Chris Olave that they added. They got Michael Thomas. So it's going to be an interesting offense, man. They're going to be an interesting team overall, man. It's going to be interesting to see how they progress. What are you thinking, though, Dondre?
Yeah, definitely. Same thing you said. They definitely went in the draft and got Chris Olave, and they already have Michael Thomas. And in addition to Alvin Kamara and signing back Jameis, I think the Saints are in a good position to make a run at the playoffs at least. But yeah, definitely the addition of Jarvis helps the fact that they got another savvy vet in there who can probably play in the slot, make hard catches over the middle, compared to with Michael Thomas, who moves around a lot. They split him out wide, and they definitely do put him in the slot. So yeah, definitely adds another weapon to their offense.
Yeah, definitely.
And I definitely agree as well. I feel like the only thing, if they're healthy, I know we talked about last week, they added Tyrann Mathieu as well. And so all those guys have to stay healthy, especially Jameis Winston. He was playing decent before he got hurt last year, but if he's healthy and he's playing as well as he did to start the season last season, then they have a chance. But I think that's the big question mark for me is Jameis Winston, and if they're able to all stay healthy.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine though. Just the depth that they have, they'll be cool. Next man up is the phrase that's commonly stated in football. So they'll be able to handle it. Again, the depth that they have at receiver, and then again, Alvin Kamara, they'll be fine. And I even heard, Jarvis is trying to do his part to recruit Odell. If they get Odell, it's gonna be a true LSU, homecoming, for Tyrann, Jarvis, and Odell. So that's a possibility. Who knows, man? Getting Odell fresh off the ACL, to impact the later half of the season, maybe leading into the playoffs. Man, anything could happen, bro. They like to advocate for each other. So
yeah, it's definitely possible. Looks like they had some problems in Cleveland, but it looks like that was more of a Baker problem in terms of both of them being on the field at the same time. But exactly. I don't think it's an Odell and a Jarvis problem. They played well together in LSU, and I think it's more the situation they're in Cleveland. Baker just wasn't able to get them all the ball, and he wasn't able to be accurate with his passes. So I think that was more the issue there.
Exactly. And I'm sure, I mean, anyone who's listening to this podcast, I'm sure Dondre knows, we kind of rip on Baker Mayfield over here. We're not the biggest fans of Baker Mayfield, me specifically. So, it was definitely, we can chalk it up to Baker being terrible in Cleveland, not being able to get the ball to the two of them. I mean, I'm sure Jameis Winston will have no problem getting the ball to Odell, Jarvis, Michael Thomas. He'll probably share the wealth. I mean, as long as he doesn't, he kind of stays away from the turnovers, because that was a previous problem of his. So hopefully if he can stay away from that, things will be blessed over there.
Yeah, for sure. I think Jameis's second year back with the Saints coming off the injury obviously is hard, but he's more experienced, he's more comfortable in the role. There's no doubt that he's probably going to be the guy going into camp. So he's got the keys to the to the car right now. He's just gotta get in there and do what he's got to do, make good decisions back there, and lead the team to the playoffs.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting for them, man. It's gonna be big hopes for them. Honestly, they got to make it far, or else they're a straight disappointment.
Yeah,
good roster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And in that division, who else in that division? Saints. Vikings are in that divisions. They're in the NFC South. So Saints, Carolina. So I think they're better than Carolina. So I can give them that one.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Is Tampa in that division?
The Falcons, I think. Atlanta's going to be. They're better than Atlanta.
Jaguars? Not Jaguars. That's an AFC team.
Yeah.
And then
I'm trying to figure it out right now.
Yeah, I know it's Carolina, Atlanta, the Saints, and there's one more squad in there.
Well, regardless, whoever
Tampa's in that. So it's Tampa, Carolina, Saints, and Falcons.
Falcons?
Yeah.
So I would say that they're either one or two in that division. Like Tampa, always gonna be strong, especially since Tom Brady's come back this year.
Yeah.
They're either one or two in that division. So I see them making the playoffs because to me they're better than Atlanta and Carolina. So
yeah.
And so I think they got a good chance to make the playoffs and make a run. But like we said, like all comes down to Jameis and how well he plays. I know he doesn't have competition this year because they have Taysom Hill, and they moved him to the kind of like that tight end move position, kind of like that dynamic type of player,
like an H-back player.
H-back. So he's not a QB anymore, but he might like line up in the shotgun do like direct snaps and stuff. But he's no longer like a traditional QB, which I think is the right move because he kept struggling when he did get his opportunities last year as the main QB. It seemed like he's not really a drop back passer, read the field and make the right read. Like he's more of just a one read and go type guy. So I feel like him as a back is probably the best solution for him.
Yeah, I agree. He's straight up like an improv guy. And he just wasn't he was struggling with consistency. I think maybe the playbook in New Orleans was maybe a little too complex for him or something. Again, the quarterback that they want is someone who can push the ball down the field, and Taysom Hill, I don't think he even had the arm like that, so and they already had to deal with Drew Brees, who, I mean, although he could push the ball down the field, he was a precise passer. He didn't really have that arm talent. His arm was deteriorating as he was getting older too. So definitely Jameis Winston he's head and shoulders over at Taysom Hill at quarterback. So Taysom, do what you're good at. Swiss Army knife, you could do multiple things well. Do your thing in that aspect, bro. Quarterback's not for you, bro. Straight up.
Well, honestly, I still think they'll probably use him in a quarterback role. Maybe for some trick plays or some gadget plays, or have even like a wildcat quarterback, because
wildcat
teams. Yeah, because I think some teams still do run a little bit of wildcat. So you never. I don't think you'll see his contribution to the quarterback position ever really truly go away. But yeah, I do think he's not a typical prototypical drop back quarterback. He's more of a zone read type guy. He do well in an offense that was, maybe an offense like Baltimore, maybe, where they run the ball a majority of the time to set up the pass, right? So
yeah, kind of like that Tim Tebow offense back in the day. Like Tim Tebow, everyone was like, he couldn't pass, but he was a really effective like slash position, you call it, like running back, quarterback. He did really well, and then when like he was such a threat running the ball, like dudes would be wide open in play action.
Well, you know, he still did beat the Steelers that one playoff game. You know, it was overtime, first play overtime. I forgot how many years ago that was, but yeah.
You saying Taysom Hill did that?
No, Tim Tebow.
Oh. Hey, Tim Tebow had his good days here and there. Yo. He had his good days. I remember it. It was that slant to Demaryius Thomas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a classic, man.
Of course, it was shout out, right?
Yeah, shout out to Demaryius Thomas. Rest in peace to that man.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Yeah, but like you said, like the Saints, they're definitely gonna be a threat in that division. They got a lot of weapons. Like you said, Chris Olave, they got speed. They've already started training together. I've seen that where they said like Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, and I don't know if Jarvis was there, but you know the receivers are already training this summer to get ready. And so I mean, it should be an exciting, dynamic offense. And so we'll see how that goes. I even saw an interesting tweet. I don't know if you guys seen this too, but Drew Brees was kind of saying that he's not sure if he was gonna go back to the booth or go back to the field. I was like, yo, bro, he's like 42 now, so that was kind of like a hint. Like, I'm like, is he gonna come back or is he just like teasing everybody?
Trying to pull Brett Favre.
Yeah, right. Retiring like 3 or 4 times and coming back. I think Drew Brees is just I think he's pulling not only a Brett Favre but like a Jason Witten. You know those ones where because with Jason Witten's situation, he retired from Dallas and he went into the I think he worked for NBC, some TV analyst job, but it just wasn't an easy transition for him. I don't think it's what he had anticipated it would be. And he was thinking, maybe returning back to the sport, something that he's already good at, something that he's done for years would be ideal. But he didn't really have the best year when he returned. And he returned with the Raiders, I believe, right? Jason Witten. So I think that's the situation that Drew Brees is in. He's finding out that, being a TV analyst is a different field. It's not as easy of a transition. It's not something that he's as good at. Maybe there is that possibility of him coming back to the field, but I don't think he'll be as effective again. His arm was deteriorating, like he could not push the ball down the field. Like it was reminding me of your boy Ben Roethlisberger. Like those are 2 quarterbacks that do not return back. You guys are good, man. Do not change the legacy that y'all have built. Like don't do that. Just relax. Take another year to get acclimated with the TV analyst thing. You'll get better as time goes on, man. Come on now.
Honestly, I think he sees Tom Brady, retiring, coming back, still playing, still being healthy, and he probably feels like I could probably still play. I think he could, but more capacity because, like you said, he did have a labrum surgery. I think the year after his first year when he went to New Orleans, and labrum surgery is tough, man, especially quarterback position. So his arm wasn't the best anymore. So
and like another news that came out, the segue, so talking a little bit about Tom Brady, he signed like a 10-year, like $375 million deal to be.
It was 10 years, bro.
Yeah, it was like a 10-year deal with was it ESPN? I don't know what platform it was, either NBC or ESPN or Fox. I believe it might have been ESPN. And to be like a TV analyst, like you said, like what Drew Brees is doing. So when he retires, he goes straight into the boot. So I see now that that's probably a way for him to stay in the game without he retires, but still stays like part of football, studying film and all that. Because that's probably why he's so obsessed. Because like he misses the whole football environment. So I seen that was really interesting. But does that mean y'all think that means he's gonna retire after this year? Or I think that's just like him making sure he has like a backup move after. If case anything.
That's a good question, bro. I honestly think that I think he has a good 2 years left in him, probably. I mean, I haven't seen any decline in Tom Brady as of yet. I mean, this past season, it shows me that he can still play. So we'll see after this season, maybe. It will kind of solidify it for me if he has another year left. But yeah, as of right now, I'm thinking he's good to still be playing. I haven't seen anything really waver. So I don't know exactly when he's gonna retire. We'll have to see with that, but definitely it's a good way for him to stay a part of the game. Yeah, that's all I see, bro. I don't know. I don't really see much from it. What do you think, Dondre?
Well, is he 45 this year? He turned 45 this year, right?
I think he's 45 already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the age where he told everyone, like, this is when I'm going to retire. And he did. He did retire briefly. But going back to what Denver said, I think Tom Brady's whole process on how he approaches the game, watches film, he gets in his routine. He's been doing it for so long, right? One of the best to ever do it. I think, he missed it so much that, he didn't want to stop doing it yet. And I think the deal with ESPN, a ton of money, but you go back to his days in New England, he's taking pay cuts every year to keep other guys on the team. So I don't necessarily think money is a huge motivator for him, but it's nice to know that, those game checks are gonna, I don't know how much he's gonna get paid, over the course of 10 years, but it's gonna be probably similar to what he's getting when he's playing. So I think right now he's playing on borrowed time, right? But at the same time, he's still having fun doing it.
Yeah, like I don't know if you've seen the podcast, but me and Josh were mad surprised when he came back and announced.
I wasn't.
I was like,
I had a feeling that he was gonna come back because I already knew, the man don't really care about his family like that. I mean, I'm kidding. I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna say the man he's just so wrapped up within the game, and he's such a competitor that that he's just never gonna feel fulfilled just staying at home with his family and just taking his kids to games and whatnot, playing that full-on stay-at-home daddy role. He's never going to feel fulfilled doing that. And especially the way that last season ended off, again, with him losing or Tampa Bay losing to LA in that fashion. Again, he was on a road to making a comeback within that game. It's just, there was an opportunity for him to still, write more to his legacy. And there's still, I feel like he has an opportunity to possibly, Tampa Bay can still be a Super Bowl favorite. I think they're still in that conversation. So, with him at quarterback. So due to that fact there, Tom Brady, it only makes sense for him to come back, and, the story is not yet told, still more.
Yeah, it's just gonna see, because he led the league in yards, I think, and touchdowns last year as well. So he left off on a high note. So I feel like in his mind, he's thinking, why leave now? I'm still at the top. He might be a guy that if he does decline, he's like, nah, I'm out. But while he's still putting up numbers, still on top, he's probably gonna keep going unless he sees that he's really dropped off compared to the other quarterbacks. Yeah. It's Tom Brady right there.
Yes, sir.
I honestly think that he's not going to leave until the game takes him out.
Really?
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, maybe. Because who knows? If he keeps winning, he's going to be like, why would I stop if I just won Super Bowl? I'm going to try again next year, But who knows? You never know. I don't know.
The thing is, Dondre, with the rules that are in place in the NFL to protect the quarterback, I don't know if the game's going to take him out like that.
Nah, no, there's definitely protected. There's definitely different rules around striking the quarterback in the pocket. It's different if he goes outside of the pocket, but yeah, when he's just sitting back there, which is what he does, that's what's got him to where he was. Yeah, he's pretty protected. I think that's partly why that's allowed him to play for so long.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's literally you see a lot of videos and stuff like that where it literally shows him in the pocket for like 6-7 seconds. That's been his game as a Patriots, just sitting there like he said, like he's just eating a burger. He's just literally chilling there, waiting for someone to get open. It's like what other quarterback has that luxury where they can just sit in the pocket and just chill and just make reads? Like not many guys can do that, right?
Yeah, exactly. But you like just bringing up that topic though with the new rules in the NFL and Tom Brady being the type of quarterback that he is, the Eiffel Tower type dude that just stands straight in the pocket. For these, improv quarterbacks, because we're seeing the game shift, right? We're seeing more quarterbacks that are more dual threat quarterbacks. Are their careers going to be as long as Tom Brady? I mean, I know we're teaching these quarterbacks, or what's being preached to these quarterbacks is, once they're getting out of the pocket to slide, but sometimes they don't always slide. Like Lamar Jackson don't always slide. He takes that hit. So are we going to see these types of quarterbacks, the new age quarterbacks, have as long careers as Tom Brady? I don't know. It's going to be, I think that's a little thing to think about, a question mark there.
I definitely think so. Like Mahomes, like his style of play seems like he can play for a very long time. Josh Allen, he plays a little bit like Lamar Jackson. He takes hits.
Josh Allen's a bruiser.
But like
that might want to run you over.
Yeah, like but some QBs, like you said, the younger guys, they're more like, more flashy, more in the pocket. Like you said, there's Justin Herbert on the Chargers. Like he likes to extend the plays a lot, but he's more safe with it. Mahomes, like all those type of guys, I feel like those guys can play for a very long time. Compared to, like you said, the Lamar Jackson, who his style is a little bit like Cam Newton, where like Cam Newton struggled a lot with injuries because he likes to run the ball. Even last year in Carolina, he struggled a lot, but they use him a lot in short yardage. And so he takes a lot of hits in short yardage going against big D linemen and big linebackers. So I think it depends on the player and their style of play, right?
Yeah, definitely. The longer, you hold the ball, it gives the defense more of a chance or more of a pass rush to more of a chance to get you. But Patrick Mahomes, I think he could play pretty long. He did hurt his knee, I think a year or two ago. And I think maybe this past season it was affecting him a little bit. But at the same time, I think his style does benefit the newer NFL rules when it comes to attacking the quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. Even like Joe Burrow, like he came off an ACL and he was balling this year, right? But the question mark with him is that he's still taking a lot of hits in the pocket. He still was the most sacked QB going into the Super Bowl. And in the Super Bowl, he was sacked, like 8-9 times? So even a guy like him, like, he takes a lot of hits, but I don't think it's his fault. Like you said, it's the team putting better O-line in front of him, so he has more protection. Like guys like him, he's young, he's really good, but he takes a ton of hits in the pocket. So I think it also depends on the team as well, like how good your O-line is. A lot of people don't talk about the offensive linemen, but that's like we call them the hogs. They're like one of the most important, units in the football. So, yeah.
So I guess we can say that Tom Brady was blessed with an O-line for a good majority of his career, and that's what's helped him. Because
always,
not everyone's going to be that lucky. And Joe Burrow is one of those people that you're talking about. I was thinking about like rookies who've just gotten into the league. I remember like, Justin Fields. I mean, during his tenure starting, or for the couple games that he did, he's been sacked quite considerably as well. So, I mean, it was a rough start to his career, but it's just telling as to how long quarterbacks can probably last and like how well they can do. It's always the O-line really that solidifies things and helps you to progress, and have a healthy career.
Yeah, I think like a lot of teams that bank on the mobile QBs to get away from the pocket. They don't have a good O-lineman. That's why they let guys like Lamar Jackson or guys that are really mobile. Russell Wilson's mobile in the pocket, because those guys don't always have great O-linemen, but they're able to evade a lot of the big hits that the pocket QBs take, right? And so it's going to be interesting this year to see how there's a lot of young guys in the game, which is good this year. A lot of QBs that are young, that are promising, like you mentioned, like Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. Justin Fields, we want to see how he does in year 2. There's also Jalen Hurts out of Philly. There's Tua in Miami. So there's a ton of young QBs that are, that are here that we're just waiting to ascend. Like you said, some of these old guys, like Tom Brady, like Aaron Rodgers, Big Ben retired. So a lot of the old guys are kind of fading off a little bit or getting a lot older. So we're waiting on these young guys like Josh Allen, to take that superstar step, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir. We're transitioning, man. We're transitioning. It's a new age of the game, bro. Honestly, the older heads that we all grew up on, they're slowly phasing out. They're slowly getting, seeing their way out of the game, and it's just a whole new generation, man. A whole bunch of new faces. It's good. It's cool to see. It's cool to see.
Talk about what's next in the NFL schedule.
Yeah, we can get into that, or we could talk about the Earl Thomas situation.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I kind of want to get into that one because it's been burning at my heart, tugging at my heartstrings.
Speak on. Tell us.
All right, yeah. Well, to get into that situation, basically he was arrested recently, and I believe that was due to violating some agreement between him and his wife, and also sending threatening messages toward his wife and their children. Apparently, he had sent via text that he had stacked up on getting 2 guns to go after her and the children as well. So yeah, his mental state, man, is it's just out there, man. He's not stable, it seems. And I feel like this is really taking a tug at his legacy, man. Like Earl Thomas, bro, like if you take it in, guys, bro, like I was watching Earl Thomas highlights before games, bro. When we were playing high school football and like transitioning even to college, I was watching Earl Thomas highlights to get me amped. I'm like, yo, this is the guy I want to be like, you know what I'm saying? But like the things outside of football, I mean, there's actually a long laundry list about that we can get into. It's really taken a hit to his overall legacy and, how we view him as a person. And it's definitely outweighing Earl Thomas, the player. What is your thoughts on the situation overall, guys?
No, go ahead, Dondre.
Well, we all play defensive back. So if you don't know Legion of Boom, then, you probably haven't been paying attention in like the last 10, 15 years. But yeah, like a lot of people looked up to Earl Thomas. He was a great player in Seattle. It didn't really end the way it should, I feel like some other players maybe got a much cleaner exit. Everybody knows how it ended. He broke his leg in the Cardinals game. I forget what year. And he's seen flipping off his coach from the sideline. You're on national TV. Everybody knows that's no way to act. It's not something you do to somebody, especially in public. So I think that was the beginning of a slight unraveling for Earl Thomas. And then he went to Baltimore, and in his second season there, he punched his teammate, after an argument.
Yeah, I heard about
and then that was, and they gave him a pretty substantial contract. So it wasn't like they didn't believe in him, there was no reason for him to be upset. But, I guess maybe you see some of the same mental issues when he went to his new team. And then, they released him after that. They cut him, and he hasn't played ever since. I know recently I saw an article that said he wanted to,
come back,
resurrect his career. Mm-hmm. But, you say you want to resurrect your career, and you're sending threatening texts to your wife or your ex-wife about you just bought 2 guns, and something about I don't know exactly what was said, but something along the lines of he was gonna kick her ass or something.
Yeah, that
was already there was already a protection order. There's already a protection order in place, so I guess you see why his wife went out, got that order. He definitely needs some help. Very sad to see. I think we're all football players, so we all know that the game's violent. It's a violent game. some guys know how to come home and turn it off and disassociate from a lot of things that get them to that mode when they're playing, and some guys can't. I think you see a lot of former players, don't want to name drop too much, but Adrian Peterson, he's constantly in the news now for assault. Some guys just struggle with maybe the time away from the game mentally, and I guess they look for other avenues to maybe look as it more of like maybe an outlet to express their emotion, because the whole mental health thing is a serious issue. A lot of people, when we were growing up, never talked mental health. So I think it's important for him to probably get some counseling, some therapy, have someone talk through some of the issues that he's feeling, probably a lot of the anger that he's feeling. He's obviously bitter about some things in his life, but it's important to go out there and get help ultimately.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like you said, like that was a good point. You mentioned that, especially on the defensive side of the ball, like you kind of have to have that dog mentality that you got to be kind of like,
You gotta be a little bit crazy.
Yeah,
you gotta be a little bit crazy,
You gotta be crazy.
In defense, you gotta go tackle people. Like you said, like you gotta sometimes, like you're a safety like he was, you gotta be in the trenches sometimes. So you gotta kind of have a certain mentality. And like you said, that was a great point. That some guys, they're not able to turn that off. Like they're aggressive on the field, and like off the field, they're aggressive too. We play with some players like that where you're like, whoa, chill, guy, chill. You know what I mean? Like, football's done, dog. Like, you relax. But like,
word.
Some guys, they just don't know how to turn that off. But like you said, like maybe it's a scenario where like guys retire, and where do you put all this aggression? Like using football, you get to let that aggression out on the field. Like you get to, go on pads, you hit guys in the game. I mean, you're letting that aggression out. But when you retire, where does that aggression go? I mean, it's not just a issue with Earl Thomas. Like every football player deals with that same thing. Like, what do we do? Like for me, like I went into like boxing or something, like martial arts. That's how I was like, okay, like let me transition to that because it's not the same, but So I feel like a lot of guys in that same position, like, what do I do? Where do I put all this energy that I was using, and do I put it into business? Like some guys aren't just able to put a physical sport and then transition to business. It's like it's not the same at all, right?
Yeah.
So and it's that whole group, like you said, like we were all big like Legion of Boom fans. There's been issues with Richard Sherman, Brandon Browner. You see Earl Thomas now. I mean, the only one that's like been like a straight arrow has been Cam Chancellor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was the one who hit the hardest.
Yeah, he was.
I know.
He was a crazy.
That man stays out the mix. He stays out the mix. Shout out to Cam Chancellor for
that.
Yeah, and so I mean, yeah, like I think he definitely needs some help. We've seen his issues, like you said. When I saw the Seattle stuff, I was like, I think that's just him beefing with the coaches and stuff. Like they didn't give him the extension he wanted to. He played on the last year of his deal, and then he got hurt. He was basically saying like "F you" to the coaching staff and to the GM, like "F you." But then I'm like, that's just like football related. But then like you saw that those issues in Baltimore, and then outside of the field you see that, and then it's like the second or third time you see news outside the field. And so like you said, like, I think there needs to be. Are there programs in place like I know Don, you play in the CFL, but in the NFL, are there programs in place for athletes after they retire to like go to these type of like, I don't know, these meetings and like you said, talk about like mental health, maybe CTE, or just transition to other, avenues of other professions? Like, I don't think there's any programs like that, right?
I gotta look at because they gave me an insurance card my rookie year when I was in Montreal. But I know the CFLP definitely has stuff in place to help us out in regards to like mental health, but it's not very long. It's like maybe, I think if they sign this new agreement, it's supposed to go from 3 to maybe 5 years after you're done playing. If you need anything medically, you can reach out to them and they'll cover, they'll see if it's under the insurance plan, right? If you were an active P member, I think you gotta play a certain amount of games to be active, right? So you gotta, get on the field and pay your dues before you get that card. But yeah, I think there's definitely stuff in place to help players out for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting that a lot of these players are not, or ex-players are not taking advantage of these things. I think also because you know how in the I Am Athlete podcast, Brandon Marshall is a big advocate for mental health. I don't even know if he figured all that stuff or advocated. That's like, I think he has his own program going on where he likes to talk about it with other former players and whatnot. I've never heard him ever shout out the NFL's own mental health project or anything like that. So I don't know, because they don't advocate for it, they don't promote it. Is it really even there? It's like it's questionable to me. But yeah, Earl Thomas, man, again, is like I said previously, man, it really tugs at my heartstrings, bro. And like, I understand the emotion that he displayed in Seattle, but I think with the situation in Baltimore, it really became like he became very egotistical. I think just being highly regarded as one of the best safeties in the game, I think it's all really gone to his head, and that explained the situation in Baltimore. But then he spiraled even further, because I definitely feel like if that was just the extent of the situation, he'd probably be able to make a comeback. He probably would have been able to bounce back. But like, not only did he, the stuff that we're hearing recently, we heard about stuff earlier, while he was off the field, with like his wife actually catching him in bed with his brother and another random girl. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
Don't know the details, but yeah.
Yeah, he was going wild, man. He's getting reckless. So he definitely needs help. And needs to get his life together, man. Definitely needs to get his life together. And yeah, I think that a lot of this is going to overshadow his career. I definitely feel like he could have been, probably a potential Hall of Famer player. But I don't know if that's even going to be a reality for him anymore, just due to all of this coming out, his off the field actions.
Well, he had a visit with I think last year he had a visit with Houston. I don't know if it was last season. Maybe it was a couple of years ago. He had a visit with Houston, and it was looking like they were going to sign him, and then nothing happened. And maybe Houston, they were doing their rounds and probably double checking some facts about maybe what happened in Baltimore. And maybe they ultimately decided that, this is not something we want to, do. Because from what I saw and from what I remember, I don't know if this is facts, but from what I remember, the reason why he punched his teammate, Chuck Clark, he blew coverage and then got mad, and then Chuck Clark got in his face and then he punched him.
Mm-hmm.
So you talk back to the egotistical stuff, that screams like, dude, you can't even do your job and you're over here retaliating on me. So yeah, maybe the Ravens saw it and were like, whoa, like, we can't let this dude get his way because it's gonna affect the whole team, right? That's how you talk about. I don't want to say the word cancer, but you talk back to guys like AP, and I love AP, but his attitude wasn't the easiest to get along with, but the Steelers put up with it. Teams like the Ravens, they don't really, they don't deal with stuff like that. It's very team oriented. It's a family. That's not something they're going to allow in the locker room. So yeah, they, what happened. He was released, and then ever since, it's kind of like he's been blacklisted because teams are trying to stay away from him. Because to be honest with you, if you're looking at how good of a player he is, he should still be on a roster. But a lot of the off the field things are what's stopping all that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, it's like a quote that I hear Shannon Sharp say a lot is, teams are willing to put up with you as long as you're still productive at a really high level. Once your productivity drops, all that personality, all that, all those issues, the team says, oh, it's not worth it anymore. So like you said, you mentioned AB, he's still free agent. He still wants to play. He keeps posting pictures of him playing with the Ravens. Like you said, the Ravens are one of those teams, like, they don't play with that stuff. They don't want too many of those type of guys. And like, could they deal with just one season of him in the Ravens locker room? Like, could he survive one season there? Like,
AB
possible.
AB took off his shoulder pads and left during a game. What kind of? I've only known one other person, and he was a coach. Denver knows what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna say names. Who left in the middle of a game while a game was going? Just left, walked off the field and left. Do you really think they're gonna give that guy an opportunity?
Nah.
That's like showing up to work, getting mad because your supervisor tells you to do something, and then you say, "Oh, I'm leaving." It's not very.
And then do it in a very public fashion as well.
And then turn around and asking, "Yeah, I want an opportunity." No, man, you're not going to get another opportunity because you just show that you're untrustworthy. Like, yeah, like team, especially the Ravens. Nah, man, you better go try the Jags. I don't know, because like
I even think the Jags is going for that. So.
That's something you don't do.
Maybe the Cardinals because the cousin there, but I don't know. Like I don't know where AB would fit. Like it had to be. Only place I ever saw him was a guy so powerful and so big in the game that stood up for him, and the only guy that did it was Tom Brady. That's the only type of player I see ever doing that, and he burned that bridge with Tom Brady and Bruce Arians. And Bruce Arians is still part of the front office there, even though he's not the coach anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going back to Tampa. So like, what other QB can stand up and be like, he's still so good, I'm gonna bring him in regardless. I don't see any other QB doing that, right?
Yo, we had this conversation before in a previous podcast. Like, no other quarterback has the type of hold that Tom Brady has. Like the amount of power that Tom Brady has is different. So any quarterback that's probably trying to rally and be like, you know what, we can still get AB. Front offices, coaches would be like, hell nah. We don't care how, like, we don't care you like that you're our franchise guy. We're not gonna give into that wish at all. Tom Brady's the only one that can do that. And now that you don't have Tom Brady in your corner, you're basically out the league, bro. You're done. And he's not helping himself either, just with because it's one thing after the other. He's just prioritizing his fame and social media presence over, the work that he may be putting in to be ready for an NFL team. You know what I'm saying? Like just the other day I saw him, like this man is constantly on the Shade Room, like on Instagram. Like the Shade Room is not, I don't think that's the best place to be on, and especially since the Shade Room documents a lot of controversial topics or, a lot of, just pop culture news that may be, just may not be shed in the greatest light. So he's just, it's not a good look for him. I don't think he's ever gonna, he's not gonna be on an NFL team again. It's out for him, bro. It's done.
Yeah, it seems like he's lacking a little bit of maturity, which he's in his 30s, so mid-30s, right? So I just don't understand. Like the personality thing, I'm fine with his personality, but he said like some of the immaturity stuff and like all that type of stuff. Like I don't know, man. Like it brings me up to like a bigger question is like we've seen the issue with T.O. Took him like 3 tries to get into the Hall of Fame. Do you guys think that off the field issues, should they have a big impact in a player getting the Hall of Fame? Like you mentioned, Earl Thomas. Do you think he's a Hall of Fame player? AB, do you think he's a Hall of Fame player? I think definitely AB should get in the Hall of Fame, but is he because of all the off the field stuff, right? And so it's like also like with Earl Thomas as well. Did he have a Hall of Fame career? And does the off the field issues impact him getting in? Like that's what I want to know. Like I think AB he should get in, but I don't think he will get in, or it might take him many times, right? Like what do you guys think? Like do those 2 guys get in or?
Man, AB and Earl Thomas it's tricky for them because Terrell Owens, he shouldn't even be like associated with them because his off the field, like his situations were not as bad as the 2 that we're comparing him to. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
Terrell Owens was never he was never in trouble with the law. He may have had public situations with his quarterbacks where he didn't always shed his quarterbacks in the greatest light. And, you know, he did bring off an aura about himself where it was all about him, when he actually was very much a team guy. I think it was a lot of misconceptions when it came to Terrell Owens, and that's what left him out. It made him have to, you know, it had to be several attempts before he could make it to the Hall of Fame. With Antonio Brown and Earl Thomas, man, this is real stuff that we deal with. I think that those stuff are gonna outweigh the product that they put on the field. So I don't think they're gonna make the Hall of Fame, to be honest. That's me.
Yeah, like T.O. and A.B. and Earl Thomas are definitely two different situations when it comes to the term, you know, you hear it all the time, he's a distraction, like guy's a distraction, right? I actually read T.O.'s book where he kind of talked about a lot of the issues that were surrounding him when he was in Philadelphia, Donovan McNabb, kind of what happened, you know, stuff like that. And yeah, he talks about his ego, you know, how he thinks he's the best, because, you know, I think every player should have that, you know, type of mindset, you know, that type of confidence. And yeah, it wasn't always presented in the best light to quarterbacks, and, you know, sometimes it was too much, like i.e. Philadelphia, Donovan McNabb, you know, we talk about the Super Bowl, you know, some comments were said after the Super Bowl that probably, you know, didn't need to be said. And then that was kind of the, you know, the rift between them, because a true number one and a quarterback, they gotta be good. You know, you talk about Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, they're cool, you know. Those guys, they, you know, they played together in college, but they got a good relationship. That's how it needs to be, right? That trust factor. But yeah, T.O.'s off the field issues in relation to A.B. and Earl Thomas, completely different levels. Like completely different levels, you know. I remember one time A.B. was late to practice. They have this guy on camera going like 40 over the speed limit, late to meetings, getting a bunch of tickets, right? Just running red lights, just a whole bunch of stuff. Like, talk about the immaturity. Like, you know, it's definitely something that A.B. should have improved throughout his career, because yeah, he's in his mid-30s. What's there to be immature about? You're a grown man now. Like, you're not 20 years old. You gotta take some responsibility. You know, just, I think, honestly, I feel like he was enabled by the organization, and I'm a Steelers fan. I feel like they enabled him a little bit. You know, they let it slide. It made him think it was okay for so long, right? Which isn't what you want to do. And then it just grew to something that they could no longer deal with, unfortunately.
Jeez. Well, I appreciate you for being truthful, Dondre. You know, because I know you're a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan, but that's I agree with that take. I agree with that take for sure.
So for you guys, off the field has an impact on the player getting in the Hall of Fame.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because it's something they pay attention to, you know.
But shouldn't it be just about how well you played though? Like, it shouldn't be like, this player was so dominant for 6 to 8 years he played in the league. These are his numbers. Compare his numbers to the other players that played.
You don't want to. I feel like when it comes to Hall of Fame, you don't want to give the voters a reason to say no.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it ultimately comes down to. Because yeah, it is based off a lot of your performance on the field, your stats, your Pro Bowls, Super Bowls, you know, everything, you know. But if you're talking about the player as a whole, they look at, you know, everything. They do look at your off the field issues. It's hard to say to a certain degree, because I feel like they have a reputation to uphold, right? You know, a Hall of Fame is for, like, you know, the best guys. You know, you show a guy who, you know, has a lot of immaturity issues, or he's issues with the law and all these things, and you let him in, it maybe not enables others, but it shows others that there's a slippery slope, right? They say, I can do whatever I want. As long as I play on the field, that's good. And that's enough to get in. I think it's holding them to a higher regard, which is why, yeah, I think they do take into account your off the field issues, your your personal life. I feel like to a certain degree. But yeah, it's like it'd be a hard decision for me. If I was a voter, I wouldn't really know what to do because yeah, AB has great numbers. Earl Thomas has great numbers. But do the pros outweigh the cons? How much is that, you're gonna weigh into a factor? It's it's a tough decision. It shouldn't be like that, but
yeah, because you talking about a guy like AP, like Adrian Peterson. I think he's like top 5, top 6. I can double check the stats, but in like all-time rushing yards, top 4, top 5. With all the off-field stuff, you're saying he's not gonna get in? Like he's top 5 all time. Same like
I think he'll get in.
Right?
I think he'll get in
but
too.
Definitely won't be first ballot. No,
he won't be first, but yeah, I think he'll get in too. Again, due to his stats and his personal life is not as publicized as these other two situations that we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I understand, like, okay, like he did do some pretty terrible things for sure, but I don't like, I just feel like it's not as publicized, right? It's not really pushed to the forefront when we talk about AP. And AP's still been picked up by teams after he's done what he's done too. So, these are things that teams have looked the other way and, maybe see some sort of other character traits that are likable, and outweigh the terrible things that he has done. So he's still gonna, I feel like he'll definitely be a Hall of Fame player. Yeah,
and like we've seen like some players like who had issues, they joined the media after the NFL career, which actually helped them. We've seen that with Randy Moss, Michael Irvin. Both those guys had a lot of issues, in their career. Michael Irvin on NFL Network. I think Randy Moss is like on ESPN, and they kind of like they had to change it. People changed their perspective and opinion on these guys when they joined the media. And now everyone kind of just forgot about all the issues that Michael Irvin had with. I think he had a drug abuse issue. Randy Moss he was always in the news, right?
Mm-hmm.
You kind of forget about all that stuff. And he's like, oh, he's a great player. And you see him on TV, it's like, yeah, he made some good points. So I feel like we've seen that as well too. So yeah, it's not really like a right or wrong answer, but I feel like it's like you said, like the Hall of Fame is like they want to hold a certain standard and make sure that those players are above that standard or at that standard. So yeah, it's a hard question.
Yeah, it's definitely.
It's a hard situation. Like I don't know the process in which the voters like. I don't know, man. I don't know what the criteria is. I don't know anything about that. Like it must be.
The criteria varies, right? Like if you think about it, like there are some people in the Hall of Fame that a lot of people don't agree with them being in being held to that stature. I mean, there's a lot of people that argue that, Kurt Warner doesn't deserve his Hall of Fame, presence. Like that's just one thought at that one person at the top of my head. So I don't know. Their criteria definitely varies for different people, depending on your story, depending on your image. I guess, those things kind of propel you, or they can also hinder you,
Yeah, and like OJ's in the Hall of Fame still, and like we know,
man,
allegedly, but I mean he's still in the Hall of Fame. We have these Hall of Fame alumni dinners. OJ's there, like nothing never happened. Like
it's crazy what people will look the other way on, but everybody saw the documentary. Everybody knows he's guilty, man. everybody knows he's guilty. Everyone knows. Crazy.
Yeah, you see like in guys in the NBA like Dennis Rodman. I mean, his stuff's not that bad, but we all saw the Chicago Bulls documentary, right? On Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And you see how Dennis Rodman acted throughout his career, like that was a different man. On and off the court, right? He's in the Hall of Fame. He was not part of the NBA top 75 players they just announced. So I mean, yeah, I think it's a question that a lot of sports have to do with, like whether this person's off the field outweighs what they did on the field, and should they get into the Hall of Fame, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah. Oh man, yeah, that was a good combo.
Yes, sir.
Landry talked about Earl Thomas. What about Tom Brady? What are we missing, guys?
Yes, we can talk about a little bit about the upcoming schedule, the new 2022 season of the NFL. Are there any games that stand out to you guys? Have you guys looked through the whole schedule?
No, I haven't. The only thing I've seen is the Lions posted a video of the presentation. It's got that guy from Instagram who disarms people. He shows like self-defense tactics.
Don't kill me. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I think it was the Lions. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think I was looking at it a little bit today at work, but
yeah, what are some big games going on? I know
week 1, we already starting off with a big game Thursday night, Buffalo versus LA.
Ooh,
oh yeah, that's a big game.
Just to kick it off. So I mean that's a big game right there.
Yeah, it's crazy how Matthew Stafford's everyone's opinion on him changed just after winning the Super Bowl. You know,
that's all it has to be, man. That's all it has to be. You win a Super Bowl, you rewrite your whole the trajectory of your story, man. It's just rewritten, bro. Like
he had one good season, but he finally had a really good team. But it's like when he was on Detroit, everyone was bashing him. Matthew Stafford, he's a stat QB. He just puts up stats. He's great for NFL fantasy. But in terms of like key games, he's not that type of guy. And then whoop, joins LA Rams, and that whole narrative just changed.
I think he just needed a change, to be honest with you. I think just beating, like Detroit's not a tourist spot. People don't say, "Hey, I'm going to Detroit for the weekend." Like it's not really where people go to vacation, right? So I think, he was there for such a long time. Small market too. They're not going to be on like Sunday night all the time. I think the biggest game of the year is like maybe the
Thanksgiving
game. Yeah, Thanksgiving game. But it's not they don't ever play on prime time. So I think a chance scenery, especially to LA, they're in their brand new stadium. They got a good coach. They got some young guys. They got some good players on defense. He was the missing piece to the whole team, right? And then you saw it this past year with his play, and then he was able to, I think they went on a pretty nice winning streak too during the season. I think they won like 5 or 6 or 8 games in a row. They, everybody knew they were a top dog in the NFC. So yeah, I think the change of scenery from Detroit to LA definitely benefit his career. And they're going to be good again this year too. So.
Literally, I mean, if you think about it, during his days in Detroit, no one was ever, I mean, yeah, they're talking about, you can never take away that Matthew Stafford was a talented quarterback, but now after this, storybook season in LA and winning a Super Bowl, people are, talking about him possibly being a Hall of Fame quarterback. That was never spoken about before. Like that was a conversation, you know what I'm saying? So literally that's all it took. And now he's in that. Of course, I don't think he'll make this the Hall of Fame until maybe like if LA has another, couple great seasons where, Matthew Stafford wins a couple more playoff games and adds that to his resume, possibly he can be. But as of right now, I mean, I don't think that's realistic at this point in time. But it's just the fact that he's put in that conversation. It just shows you like, damn, like it's really that change of scenery, that one good season. It just changes narratives. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, it's crazy, but like Dondre said, he's the missing piece. They brought LA to a new level, and this is why this is going to be such an anticipated game, seeing LA against Buffalo. These are two rising teams, you know what I'm saying? Like big up teams from both divisions. So this is going to be a good game to look out for. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it.
Who you guys think is going to win the game?
That's a good question.
Game in Buffalo or in LA?
Let me see here.
By the way,
I think it's in LA.
Ooh.
Yeah, I got Rams.
I think Rams win that. Even though Josh Allen's tough, but yeah.
Yeah, they come in a Rams house. Yeah, I'm thinking LA's gonna win for sure.
And you said you don't think Matthew Stafford's gonna make the Hall of Fame?
I'm saying at this point, like if he were to retire right now, nah. Like with the one Super Bowl win, he's definitely put up stats, but like nah. I think he needs to win a couple more playoff games because before this season, he's only won one playoff game in his Detroit legacy. I don't think it's enough yet. He needs to win a little bit more in order to be considered.
Yeah, I think you're right. But
Yeah.
definitely debatable because when you said that, my first thought was Kurt Warner's in the Hall of Fame.
But he won a Super Bowl, and then he made two other Super Bowl appearances after that.
You're right.
So he won a whole bunch of playoff games to get there. You know what I'm saying? So Kurt Warner, it makes sense, and he was a league MVP as well. So it kind of makes sense, but then there are still people naysayers that will say that Kurt Warner doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame too, and they're saying he made it based off his story alone because he was bagging groceries leading up to leading up to be an NFL quarterback. So
yeah.
But yeah, because Matthew Stafford didn't even achieve that yet. You know what I'm saying? So
you're right.
I don't think so.
Like you me thinking of, like, I thought of Kurt Warner, I thought of Eli Manning. I was like, people tell me Eli Manning's gonna get in, and I said, yeah, I know he won 2 rings. He beat Tom Brady, the GOAT, twice.
That's why he's gonna make it.
But I'm like, in 2020, he had more bad years than good years. But his good years, he banked them when he got Super Bowl rings. So it's like
he'll be known as a Tom Brady slayer, and that's why he's going to be in the Hall of Fame for that alone.
Yeah.
Playoff Eli. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, man. What are some other? Did you see some other great games there?
I think I saw. Who did I see? Not really a big game, but it's a Sunday night game. Cowboys Buccaneers. Tom Brady. Coming back. They're in Jerry World. I believe the game is going to be in Dallas. Yeah, game's in Dallas, so they're coming to Jerry World. Sunday night game, big game. So yeah, I think that'll be a big game. There's not much to say about the Cowboys, but
right.
There's not much to say about the Cowboys, but
you can have an entire podcast about the Cowboys, bro.
Right. There's enough content on the Cowboys for real, and it's not really positive.
I mean, I like Dak. I feel like he's very underrated. I mean, like, when he's healthy, he's like almost a lock to get the team to the playoffs. I mean, like, he'll get you to the playoffs. Like, he's not like a garbage QB. But like, I think me and Josh, we talked about it on the podcast. Like, there's like good QBs, there's like elite QBs, and there's like such a big jump. Like, we don't think he's in the elite
category. Yeah,
he's in the good to sometimes he could be great and get you to the playoffs, but he's not elite. And I think that's what they're missing. But at the same time, they could just put a great team around him. They're so good as a team, and they could still win. But like
they have a good team. They got a good team. They got young guy Michael Parsons on defense. CeeDee Lamb, Zeke's still good when healthy. Their O-line's still relatively decent. It's not a terrible O-line, I'd say, by any stretch of the means. But yeah, I think the common misconception, the Cowboys, it's I'm going off topic here, but you talk about the Leafs. talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs. They have a good team every year. They do well during the season. What happens in the playoffs? They always lose.
They're always choking.
Some teams are just cursed, man. Some teams are just cursed when it comes to sports. Some teams just, when they get the playoffs, they just choke. It is what it is.
I think, yeah, I agree with you. There are certain teams that are like that. Definitely Dallas is one of those people. But I feel like, and I'm not a hater of Dak whatsoever. I'm just going to preface it like that. But I made this comment earlier in the podcast one time. I said, basically, Dallas has been relying on quarterbacks that they just, like luck into or find. And then, they're like with Tony Romo, for example. Tony Romo was undrafted, right? He only has like so high of a ceiling, you know what I'm saying, in the era that he was playing in. Dak was what, like a 3rd, 4th round pick? He only has so much of a ceiling himself, I feel. I feel like they just haven't found their guy at quarterback yet. That's just the point of the matter of the fact. I feel like they need to maybe get a quarterback that has a higher ceiling. I don't think Dak's ceiling is that high. I don't think Tony Romo's ceiling was that high either. They were good quarterbacks, but they can only get so far. You get a quarterback that is basically solidified. You know that this man has all the intangibles. You know that he has that grit. You know that he is a winner. You get that dude, I'm sure that they can make Dallas ascend just from them being under center. So
do you mean through the draft, or do you mean like through free agency?
I think both. I think both. Like, I feel like if Dallas were to get someone else that has shown something on another team, I don't know. I don't like for now within free agency, there's no one to get, right? And then I'm sure they can find someone in the draft possibly in the future. But yeah, for now they're just stuck with Dak, right? Dak is basically their best bet.
Yeah.
So you don't think that they can put a team around him? Like, I know they're like, everyone said, oh, you can have a decent QB and win a Super Bowl. We've seen that with the Trent Dilfers. You can even say that not recently, but Nick Foles, he's not an elite QB, but they had a great run. He was playing at a high level just for that one season, and they won. And saying that, like, we don't think Zach's a Super Bowl winning QB, even with a good team around him. You don't think he can ever get it done?
The thing is, Dallas would have to really have a great team around him, like an exceptional team. They don't really have that. They have a good young team, but it's not enough for, like, Dak is not going to carry them over the hump with the supporting cast that he has around him now. Like, those teams that won those Super Bowls are stacked. Like Trent Dilfer, that defense is like out this world. Like, you can't touch that Tampa Bay defense, right? Or sorry, Trent Dilfer, you can't touch that Baltimore defense. Or like Brad Johnson with Tampa Bay, you can't touch that Tampa Bay defense. Like, those guys were lucky because they were right, like they're literally getting a free trip to the bowl because of those legendary defenses. Dallas doesn't have no legendary defense right now, and they don't have a great supporting cast at offense either. Yes, you have Zeke, but Zeke is not consistent. And then CeeDee Lamb is young. They got Michael Gallup. You gave away Amari Cooper, which could have helped you. I don't know, man.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. The Cowboys are always a team every year, like, that is just like, there's so much opinion and debates about them. But I'll never pick them to win the Super Bowl. And if I did, like, like, it'd be like I'd win $1 million basically, because, you know, they choke that often, right? And so
yeah.
But they're facing Tampa Bay. I don't think that game is the game at Tampa.
The game's in Dallas.
Ooh.
Tom Brady's gonna run up in that house and beat them.
Oh man, early pick. I'll pick Tampa, but I might change my pick during the year.
We'll see.
Based on how the teams are playing.
Okay. I think a good one. What do I see? I think it's the last game of the day for week one. Just for week one. Broncos, Seahawks.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one.
It's gonna be a good game.
Broncos, Seahawks?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Is Russell Wilson returning home? Or return to his former team?
What are the Seahawks doing though? I thought they're gonna get like a Baker Mayfield or like a
who knows? There's still
time.
You never know. You never know, man.
I think Russell Wilson just dominates them. Is it me, or I feel like, is the game in Seattle or is it's in Denver?
It's in Seattle, of course.
Yeah, I think Russell goes back and he wins that game. He goes back with a lot of, venom. He wants to get back to the old team basically didn't surround him with the weapons he wanted to throughout his career. He's was complaining about the O-line for like the last 6 years. Get me top O-line, get me top O-line. And the Seahawks kept doing what? They kept drafting O-linemen and trying to develop them instead of just putting, O-linemen that were already established. And so, the Seahawks don't really spend like money like that. And so, yeah, I think Russ goes back and he wins that game. I think like I would say Drew Lock. I think the Seahawks are tanking. I don't care what they tell me. They say that they're rebuilding, but I don't believe it. Like, you guys like think the Seahawks are going to be a decent team next year, or?
Definitely not with Drew Lock, but I'm holding out hope that they're gonna make a big move for Baker Mayfield a little bit closer to the season, and that's maybe gonna change the outlook of things. Because I mean, I'm not saying that Baker Mayfield is like, I don't rate him like that. We all know that, right? You already know my standpoint on Baker, but the system that he be going to, it fits Baker ideally. Again, they're gonna be a run first team, play action type team, right? You know what I'm saying? So just based on that fact, Baker, you already know he excels in that. That's the kind of system that he was comfortable with Cleveland. He goes into that situation. He has DK Metcalf to throw to. He has Tyler Lockett to throw to. He has targets, right? So, and then you just, just turn around, hand the ball back. I think they still have Chris Carson. They have Rashard Penny, whatever his name is. So I think it would actually be a ball game if we were talking about Baker Mayfield at center. With Drew Lock, hell no. That's Russell Wilson slapping that. Like, it's.
But you know what? People, like, the whole Baker situation is unfortunate. It's an unfortunate situation. He basically lost his job, which happens all the time. But he's coming off injury too. So he had off-season shoulder surgery. So I don't know. Like, is he going to be ready to go this year? Like, is he going to be healthy? Like, he's gone through a lot this offseason, clearly. But I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw Baker back in Cleveland, especially with there's still a little bit of uncertainty behind the whole Deshaun Watson situation, if he's going to be available or not. But I don't know. There's still some questions around him. But yeah, if Seattle sticks to Drew Lock for quarterback, I got the Broncos winning by like 30.
Facts. Jeez. Now I just want to question Dondre on this though. Like, you really think Baker's gonna suck up his pride and be like, hell yeah, I'm coming back, Cleveland. I'm gonna play for you? Well, nah, you already know the way Baker is, man, his personality, and I don't think he changed it for nobody. And that's how he's built up himself, like within the league. He's that type of dude. So nah, I don't he's not returning to them for nothing. No matter how much they offer, nothing.
Yeah, they definitely didn't. I don't know what happened in terms of end of year meetings, what they told him, but from his post, it sounded like he didn't know what was going on. I feel like there maybe wasn't a lot of transparency, but at the end of the day, what if it's like, I don't know, training camps in a week? This guy hasn't reported to no OTAs, because I don't think he hasn't been with the team, not going to meetings. They're gonna have to trade him. There's gonna be a team to trade him because he's still on his rookie deal, right?
I believe
so. He has what, a year left on his rookie deal? I think a team might trade for him, but what, the Browns are looking for a steep price. They might have to come down,
and I think they will eventually.
Yeah, eventually, just not right now.
Yeah.
We should definitely do like a vote. You know how like on like the NBA on TNT guys, they do like their prediction for the season. I think we should do a prediction if we all think Baker is gonna start with Cleveland. Is he gonna play a game with Cleveland? Is he ever gonna play another game with Cleveland Browns? Like, I know Josh, you're thinking no.
Hell no.
I'm definitely I'm like 50-50. It could go either way with me, to be honest with you, because it's not a good situation.
Like, and now they have O'Shea Brissett. I mean, not O'Shea Brissett. They have
Jacoby.
Yeah, they have Jacoby Brissett. I don't know. I feel like if Deshaun Watson is like spending for the first 8 games of the season, I think there's a possibility he might play. A small possibility, like,
yeah, absolutely.
All depends. But my early answer would be no. I don't think he'd play. But if Deshaun Watson suspended for a good amount of time, I think the possibility he could play. So, yeah, that's an interesting. That's a one with to wait to see how it plays out, right?
I don't know. I think you guys are underestimating Baker's pride, yo. He's a real prideful dude, man. Yeah. Pride is the devil, in the wise words of J. Cole.
Yeah. Oh, it'll lead you to your downfall.
Mm-hmm. It's good. Like I said, it's gonna outweigh him ever wanting to return back to Cleveland and play any games for him, because it's not gonna be a long-term situation for him, and he's gonna know that. You know what I'm saying? So they've
Basically a
already,
rental.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we end the podcast, definitely want to say, like, we should definitely like a fantasy thing where we all have our like own fantasy league and we just like play each other. That would be pretty fun this coming year.
Yeah, that would be lit. We should do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you guys want to make some early? I don't know. It's actually way too early, but like early Super Bowl picks. I know we're way ahead of time, but training camp it's sooner than we think. It's always what, July, August, like late July. Training camp.
I think August is when it starts, isn't it?
August 1st around there. So that's like
Sometime around there, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of probably way too early, but you know, any early picks that you have just based on everything that's happened so far?
Jeez, it's hard to say. It's hard to say.
Honestly,
a lot of teams made moves this year.
I got the Chargers.
Jeez, Justin Herbert.
They're loaded, man. They're loaded. And people are saying the same thing about the Rams, you know, when they signed Matthew Stafford, and then they signed, they went out and got Odell during the season. Everyone was like, yeah, they're going to Super Bowl. And then look, they won the Super Bowl. So yeah, they're loaded on defense. They got two bookends, Khalil Mack. And they got Bosa. Yeah. So they got a young QB still on his rookie deal. They got weapons all around him. What's not to like?
It's a good pick. It's a good pick.
Chargers are a good pick for sure. I just feel like a lot of teams did what the Chargers did, though. I mean, Las Vegas did that, add in Chandler
And
Devontae Adams as well on offense. So they made moves. Denver's made moves, of course. That whole AFC division is just stacked. I don't know who's really coming out of there. So do you think that LA is really going to be the ones to win that division? Is Kansas City is still a player in this division as well, so we can't completely rule them out.
Yeah, that's stacked. I mean,
it's hard.
I might go.
Yeah. Maybe we can say whoever comes out of the division is probably going to make it to the Super Bowl. Maybe we can say that as a general. Yeah.
I would say my early season pick would be, I'll pick the Saints. I don't know how many people are probably picking them, but hey, if James can get that done, that would be sick. That's a way too early prediction, but like right now, like Saints have a chance. I'm gonna put the Saints, man.
I'm saying they're gonna win some playoff games. Maybe they might make a nice little playoff run, but I don't know if they're gonna make it to the Super Bowl. I can't. But you know what? I'll eat my words if it happens, bro. I'll reference this podcast when we get to that place, and I'll be like, "Yo, you were right." Give you all the praise and everything, because I say it's pretty bold picking the Saints at this point.
I would say whoever wins the division, not like Bucks or Saints, will have a chance to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Tom Brady's in that division and he's again the GOAT. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna say whoever is in the AFC West, yeah, the AFC West division, that they're going to the Super Bowl. As for the NFC, I'm going maybe Tampa Bay. I'm going Tampa Bay again. Tampa Bay or LA again.
Yeah. For sure.
It's definitely a toss-up. But yeah, man, it's a way too early predictions, but hey, one of us might be right.
Yeah. Right?
I mean, who picked LA last year? Not even though Stafford joined LA, their odds went up, and I still didn't pick them. I said, Stafford's not gonna win. He's not gonna be.
Yeah. That. I was the same way. I was like, there's no way, man. But you proved a lot of people wrong.
I was thinking, if anything, Tampa Bay would have beat them in that in the AFC or NFC championship game, but or was it the NFC divisional game? I don't remember. Anyway, I thought if there was any team that was going to beat them, it was going to be Tampa Bay. But they proved us wrong, yo. LA really put it all on the line, yo. They made all the additions that they needed to. You already knew it was Super Bowl or bust for them.
Yeah. When they lost Robert Woods and they signed Odell, I was like, oh, that's when I was like, yo, they might actually do something. Like, you know, if they keep going how they're going, I'm like, they're gonna actually do something. But yeah, you know, definitely hard to say, but I think the safe pick is AFC West and then Tampa and LA out of the NFC.
Yeah, definitely. So we're sticking with that. That's our projection there.
Yeah.
All right. You already know.
I appreciate y'all listening. As always, you know, thank you for our special guest here, Dondre Wright, you know.
Yep.
The NFL still might play this year, so prayers to that. Hopefully get another shot this year.
Yes, sir. God willing.
Hopefully.
Welcome back anytime, bro. Anytime.
Absolutely. I'll be watching.
Yeah, for sure.
It's your boy Denver.
Yes, sir. It's your boy Josh.
And Dondre.
All right, we out.
You already know. We out. Peace. Blessings.
Hit that like, hit that subscribe.
Review. I ain't making no commitments unless I'm seeing it through. And that shit ain't always easy to do. Nah, it ain't easy to. Another year alive, pushing my dreams, finding balance while I'm looking at